So as mentioned, I'm Anne Rodriguez. I lead the commercial team at Proximic by Comscore. I think people here probably know Comscore as the measurement company, so everyone's probably wondering what Proximic is. We're the digital targeting division that we spun out a couple years ago. So I'm really excited to be here today, joined by some wonderful leaders from our host at the Vitamin Shoppe. But I don't want to introduce them because we had a prep call. They have phenomenal roles here, and I would love for them to just take a minute and introduce themselves, talk about their role, and then we'll dive into it. But for this panel today, I think we've consistently heard, obviously, we're all at work, we have our KPIs, but it's really the consumer that's the focus for all of us. So talking about how their roles all on different sides of the business come together with that consumer focus. So I'll go first.
Okay, so I'm Lisa Chudnofsky, I'm the Chief Brand Officer, which is kind of self-explanatory, but not really. I'll tell you what it encompasses. So it's all of our original content, which includes our blog, but also our social media strategy and execution. I also oversee PR and communications, as well as our entire creative operations. So anything that falls under that organic brand umbrella.
Nadina, Guglielmetti, so thank you for the nice introduction. I am the Chief Customer Officer at the Vitamin Shoppe, and that's essentially marketing, loyalty, and digital commerce.
Jack Gayton, I am the GMN, so General Merchandise Manager. I get to work with all of our great brands across the industry, and I lead the merchant team. So I've been with the Vitamin Shoppe now for about 5 years.
Thank you. So I think one of the themes we've continued to hear today, we've heard a lot of people mention social. So consumers, social, e-com, digital platforms. Let's kick this off, down the line, whichever one you want to start at. How are you guys tapping into the digital platforms, the social, all these buzzwords you've heard in the questions today, in your roles?
I can go first. I keep turning this on and off because it's very loud. Yeah, so we, you may have heard earlier from Muriel, who discussed how we keep the customer at the center of everything we do, and of course that's true. And we look at where our customers are flexing, how they're shopping, we do a yearly research study to understand their behaviors, and we keep up pace with them. So in terms of digital platforms, of course we have a fantastic website and app. We've also expanded into same-day delivery because we know convenience and as Muriel had mentioned earlier, really getting the product in the hands of the customer when they want it is critical to them. And then we also look to where else are they getting entertained so that we can begin to engage them in ways that they want to get engaged. So of course, TikTok is one place where customers love to get engaged, especially within our category. That's a place that we've been spending a lot of time with our brand and advertising, and of course more organically for quite many years. And then there are other platforms which are just relevant for our category. So I would say we look where our customers are flexing, but also the areas and platforms that are relevant to the categories that we sell.
I would just say from my standpoint, I think we tend to use social media too as quite a listening device to see what's going on in the marketplace. In the past, in my previous points in my career, it was a lot about brands coming in and pitching to a merchant team. I feel like over the years things have really changed where our merchant team is a lot more proactive, and a lot of what they're picking up is just based on what they're seeing on social media. So for us, it's probably become one of the most critical tools is making sure you're in touch with what brands are doing, and not just the followers, but also the engagement and authenticity and things like that. So we really use social media a lot more. I'd love to say I don't have to deal with TikTok, but I do. It's tough at times to keep up with everything that's going on, but it's critically important.
Yeah, and unlike Jack, Nadina and I really like TikTok. You fall down the rabbit hole, but
it doesn't go away.
it may. But they'll find somewhere else to go, right? That's the great thing about social. If TikTok goes away, there'll be another. Although Threads never really got on, I still love Threads too. One of the best things that we ever did, I think, we still really lean into Instagram a lot because it is so important for building your brand. But, we also like to promote our products, and really promote our sales. And so you can't necessarily do that and go heavy on Instagram. It's like uncool, right? But one of the best things we ever did was we activated Instagram for all of our stores. So we have 700 store Instagram accounts. And when we first did this about 5 or 6 years ago, people were like, how could you do that? That's so off-brand. They're going to be doing some crazy things there. It did start off a little bit Wild West. We factored in a lot of tutorials, best practices, and over time, some of them have grown to 15,000 followers, and they can be promotional. They can really focus on driving traffic, saying, we have an ambassador here today, we have a great sale, it's GoGo 50. Some of the things that we can't use as a primary message on Instagram. So that's really helped expand our reach and amplify all of our messages, and we get incredible UGC from it, like really just creative stuff. They've caught on, and some stores are better than others, but we developed an ambassador program based off of the success of Instagram.
That's really interesting. I think, so you mentioned the UGC side, but from the Vitamin Shoppe brand overall, what does the brand stand for? Kind of how is that evolving with the consumer in mind and over time and the different trends?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard Muriel mention it, Lee mentioned it. Quality, innovation, and expertise are our brand pillars, and we stand really true to that. We've heard it from our audience, our customers. These are the things they think about when they think about the Vitamin Shoppe. We are a specialty store. Anytime we kind of get away from that, we have to say, remember, specialty, put the specialty back in. It's really crucial for our success. That is what our customer comes to us for. They come to us for our expertise. We have the product education team in the house today. They really create this amazing original content that the health enthusiasts, our store associates, they learn from every day. And you go into a Vitamin Shoppe store and they know their stuff. Some of them are credentialed nutritionists, trainers. They live and breathe this. So, quality, innovation, and expertise has been sort of our refrain for years, and even though the customer evolves, our brand evolves, I think that the more we can, use that as a North Star and always find our way back to that, the more successful we'll be.
And then, Jack, from that side with the merchandising, how do you make sure that, stays in line, the merchandise in store keeps up with the trends and keeps that brand story, at heart?
Well, I'd say as lead merchant, I can at times be guilty of the bright, shiny object syndrome a little bit. And we do absolutely 100% aggressively go after trends and things that we're seeing. But what I always want to make sure that we stay true to is that specialty place. And especially in this day and age with convenience and Amazon and others, it's very easy to become hyper-focused on that. And what I like to try to keep in mind is there's customers who are very valuable to us, and we have an excellent team that can give us a lot of data about our different customers and what's important to them. And for them to get in the car and take a trip because they've researched an item that they feel they need and they're confident that the Vitamin Shoppe has it, it's critical that we continue to fulfill that role. So it's a bit of a balancing act where obviously we're going to go after trends, whether it's brands or categories or ingredients, but we're also going to make sure that we can satisfy the need of that consumer, because that's what we really feel is our role in space, is to be able to offer the things at a point of access, whether it's in store or online, that other retailers won't, because this is our mainstay, this is our wheelhouse here. So it is like I said, you're doing a little bit of a balancing act at all times.
And then, Nadina, I think to bring it home, I think we've mentioned the trends and we've talked a little bit about the data, but how are you bringing those together to really think about it from a perspective of like personalized shopping experiences, whether that be in store or online, to kind of keep both those new trends in mind, the data that's fueling them, and then keep everything going with the consumer?
Yeah, so some of the things that and every year we approach things a little bit differently. One of the things that we did this year is we went back, and there have been so many changes with the consumer because of COVID. Pre-COVID, customers were looking more for need state solutions. Post-COVID, we find our customers incredibly engaged with health and wellness in a way that they haven't been before, across all spectrums of their wellness journey, whether it's brain health or gut or even need state. So we went back and looked at who's our customers, how do we talk to them, who should we be talking to, because you can get into a lot of inefficiencies in marketing if you try to talk to everybody. So we went back and redid our segmentation analysis to decide here's the 3 segments that really matter to our business, because these other segments probably won't move the needle for us, and we've infused that into our data to help us target more strategically, and those inputs will help everything from how we talk to our customers, which products we bring to life, where we find them, and then how we fuel and use lookalikes within certain channels to activate new customers. So it's kind of a little bit of a pivot from how we've approached things. We sort of refreshed everything we did just because we really realized at the beginning of this year that there was a real paradigm shift. So many consumers are into this space now and category, and we can't just sort of peanut butter our initiatives across everybody.
And then I think given that, Lisa, how do you keep authenticity in the story? I think there's trends, there's data, but at the end of the day, we're talking about this we're all sitting in the office, but to make sure it all still comes across as authentic to the consumer and not just like, hey, we're promoting a new sale, we have a new product, but still really connecting with them from the wellness perspective.
Yeah, so not to sound like a broken record, but our store associates are our best customers. They are our internal customers, and so that UGC is really crucial. The fact that they're the stars of a lot of our content. The other stars are our social media team, and for a while there was this big trend, and it's still kind of going, where your social media manager is your BFF, and so these ladies, the third row, star in a lot of our content, and having the customer know that they work at the Vitamin Shoppe, that they're in the store a lot. We film a lot of our stuff at the store. We want people to know we're there all the time. We are amongst the customers. We are the customer. We also created an ambassador program, as I mentioned before. It's called the Shop Squad, and based off of the success of Instagram, we every 6 months develop a new cohort of health enthusiasts who want to build a personal brand, who really live and breathe health and wellness as well as the Vitamin Shoppe. And we give them topics to post on. We give them product as a perk, and that really is them in the store, kind of living their best life and talking up how much they love their job and how much they love what we sell. We don't put people on the Shop Squad who only work a few hours a week and are just there for the paycheck. These are people who we vet pretty carefully, and they're telling real stories, and they're showing off their expertise. They're showing off what they know, and so again, it all comes down to the customer. In this sense, it's more of our internal customer, but it rubs off. The customer sees that this company is, as you said, authentic. I think someone earlier in the day said authenticity it's a bit overused, but it's at the same time it is so important and crucial to resonating emotionally with who you're trying to speak to.
What about, making sure that you have the long-term relationships with your customers? Are there different programs you have in place to make sure you have that loyalty in the long term? And then I know on the flip side, we would maybe collect some of that data for use as well.
Yeah, so we're lucky. We have a wonderful loyalty program and team that's focused on what we do to retain customers. We're lucky as a retailer, a good majority of our customers are in our loyalty program. That enables us to have a lot of and really assess a lot of first-party data. That being said, some of the changes we made over the past year is rethink what the relationship with our customers are like. Loyalty programs can be very transactional, right? You're shopping and you're getting a point. So we began to think about, well, what if we can sort of provide value or a value exchange with our customers for their data, for their input, and then they can get some points. So answer our quiz for us. Tell us what you think, what's in your stack. What do you want to see coming down the line? Things like that really help enrich our data. When is your actual birthday, for example? So that value exchange, it's really a new forefront in loyalty programs. I actually just saw yesterday Sephora is starting to do something very similar, where on their platform they're starting to allow customers to get points for queries. So it's sort of a new wave that's happening in loyalty. I'd like to say we were one of the first to kind of hop on the wave, and there's certainly more to do there. But I think it's really important for consumers to feel like that it's not so transactional, that relationship, because loyalty programs are everywhere. So it's not really something that's going to drive your decision to shop in one store or another if you have 10 loyalty cards. So you have to kind of go the extra mile.
And then, Jack, how do you kind of balance that? You have a loyalty, you're trying to have the long-term shoppers keep those staples on the shelf, but from a merchandise perspective, also make sure, you have the latest trends or what the new folks are leading into.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have those staples and things that customers would expect that we would carry, but it's also about offering newness and innovation from whether it's a new brand or a brand that's been on the shelf for a while. Customers will, especially if people are using this product regularly, they're gonna have a little bit of flavor fatigue at times. So we always want to make sure that we have new offerings and new flavors for people to try, or even new delivery systems like things like whether it's creatine going from a powder to a chew, and that's we're creating loyalty by keeping the customer coming back into the stores on a regular basis, and we're doing that by always offering like these unique things, whether it's the flavors or different formats and things like that. So it's important to make sure you keep the customer excited and engaged, because let's be honest, there's a ton of choices out there for everybody.
Don't forget dollar drinks.
Oh, dollar drinks go a long way. It's pretty easy sell when it's a buck.
One of the earlier panels was talking a bit about kind of org structure, and I think the questions I've asked each of you today, they were a little bit siloed for each of your roles, but there's obviously a lot that you're doing and collaborating together. So wanted to kind of have you talk a little bit about how you guys are collaborating in your roles and bringing each of these pieces together to, have that, the brand story, what we're talking about, keeping that consumer mind, how are you working across the, I don't want these siloed questions to make it seem like you guys aren't talking to each other behind the scenes.
Talk to each other quite a bit.
I would say that, one of the org changes we made several years ago is we made sure that our integrated marketing lead sort of became the connective tissue across all of us. Because obviously we talk a lot together, but sometimes that doesn't trickle across teams, or it doesn't, there's roadblocks or inefficiencies. So we really put a person in the center who was accountable for making sure that communications happened effectively, whether it's something creatively that needs to be communicated or happening in merchandising or a priority that kind of get fleshed out. And I think that system has really, I think it really helped us to stay really organized and connected, but most importantly helped our teams understand what's critical and important, what's happening. Anyway, that's...
Yeah, I think from our standpoint too, I think with some retailers, there's usually a slow build to a season, whether it's like the holiday season or a certain particular selling season in apparel. Here, we're on all the time. This is a 365 business. We have new launches, new happenings happening literally every week. So we have to be a pretty small and tight-knit crew because we have to keep up that pace. And we're reinventing and turning over the store every month. And if it was like if we weren't interacting regularly, a lot of things would be slipping through the cracks. So I think having that comfort level for not just for our team at this level, but the teams below us to work integrated is critically important from my point of view. And it also, that open dialogue is really what makes the Vitamin Shoppe special. Like, one of the things I always say is I've been in retail for 20 years, and I feel like the culture here is different from any place I've worked before, where you really feel like we're about wellness, but we're also about like the spirit of the industry and working together. And I feel like that comes through in the way we operate, both internally and externally with our vendor partners.
And I would just say, Jack's team, the merchants, do a really good job of kind of making their enthusiasm for new brands and new products contagious. So if the merchants believe in it, we believe in it. Like, our job is to take their vision and make it happen for them. So we have this monthly share down where we learn all about the new brands and the new products. It gets us really excited. It's like, the elevator pitches. And so our teams walk away from that, and we have this monthly Bible, and we say, how are we going to make this come alive on all of our channels? And so that's where a lot of the collaboration comes into play. But because they're passionate about the new brands and products, it does rub off on us, and it's like we want to do them proud. So that's, it's definitely, there's a lot of mutual respect that goes into it. Thanks.
So I think before we turn for questions, we want to bring some of the enthusiasm Jack's team usually has up here. So we're going to do a quick this or that. Part wellness, part, as we talked about in the prep call before I had to drive in this morning, I was happy that there's something in New Jersey. I don't know if I prefer to drive or take my train, but still, we're going to do a Jersey spin on this too. So our first one from the wellness side, morning workout or evening workout?
I'm 100% morning. If it doesn't happen in the morning, it's not happening.
Morning.
Lately it's been no work. But I have a new puppy, so it's taking him for a walk every 2 hours. Sorry, I do come back, I check my phone, but there's a lot of walking in circles around the block.
All right, Jersey spin, pork roll or Taylor ham? Not wellness
I'm
at
like
all
an
if you eat
upstate
either of
New
this.
York guy, so I'm going to go Taylor ham.
Taylor.
Neither.
You're all wrong, I'm from Philadelphia, it's pork roll. All right, so then let's go vitamins, supplements, or both?
Look who you're talking to. It's both. Yeah, it's both and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, all.
Okay.
About
Hoagie or sub?
sub.
Sub.
Yeah, I'm sub too.
You picked the wrong moderator. So, all right, then we're gonna go, okay, herbal tea, coffee, or one of the mocktails. We're going this, that, or the other, but,
I had all three today. I'm shaking a little bit now. The adaptogens have not kicked in, so there's a lot of caffeine in me. I also had an energy drink up in my office. So.
Heavily caffeinated.
Yeah, I'm a coffee guy, although with my job, energy drinks play a large role.
all right, this one's coming from my marketing team, because I'll tell you my team is not on here, so we're just gonna let you yell it out, because they said Giants or Jets for a team where we are.
Giants.
JETS.
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 All right, turn off all the microphones except mine. It's Eagles for everyone.
Are you Mets or Yankees or?
I mean, we can keep going. This one we had, again, turn them all off, it's Phillies. What else we got on here? Now, someone threw this in, and I think this is just too crazy to touch, but Taylor Swift or Beyonce?
I'm a Swiftie. I love Beyonce's new album though. Love it.
Don't make me do this. It's not fair. I love them both for different reasons. Right now, I'm definitely in a Taylor phase, but Beyonce's the queen, so I'm just bow down to Beyonce.
I have 3 daughters, and I feel like if I didn't say Taylor Swift, they would know. So, I don't Taylor.
I just want to point out that it was okay to have like multiple beverages that you drank today, but like supplements and vitamins, and everyone's like, oh my god, I gotta pick between Taylor and Beyonce. All right, so let's take it for any questions.
That was fun. Lisa, you mentioned you have 700 Instagram accounts across all stores. How does that, is it store associates that manage that? Like, how does that work in terms of like who manages it? How do you ensure consistency? And then also, have there been any hiccups or funny moments that you can share? They're not funny. There are definitely hiccups. There's fewer these days. We have our community manager right there, Lindsay. She really does do an amazing job of holding tutorials with our all of our store managers. It's been actually a lot easier since everything became so virtual to be able to communicate with the field. She spends a lot of time also just unlocking people from their accounts because they always seem to lose their passwords. So that's been a fun hiccup. The store managers sort of run the show, but we do have turnover, and so there's always the changing of the guards. Our district sales managers are heavily involved, who we speak to also through our vice presidents in the field. And so there's a nice cascade of information about how to prioritize messaging. We send them challenges to do. We send them a monthly newsletter. We give them assets through an intranet called Frontline. So every week we send them creative that we create in-house. But we really want to encourage them to create their own. So we'll have a lot of best practices. Every once in a while we'll come upon something that says, this supplement cures cancer. We have to, give a call to the store and say, hey, remember, you can't say that. But for the most part these days, it's incredibly creative stuff. They're all over the trends. They want to get customers into their doors, but they also want to grow their accounts. We have signs in the store that say follow us on Instagram. There's a really big push from the executive level down to really making sure that everybody understands that this isn't just about building the brand, it's about driving traffic to the store. But in terms of ensuring consistency, a lot of it is just about time and constant communication and Lindsay harassing them.
Question. Somewhat directed at Lisa, but I maybe all three. So I love the whole, shop squad and user, created content and the idea of, just putting the product in the hands of your, most active influencers. But I'm thinking about, there are so many other products and supplements that are geared towards potentially an older audience. Like, how do you differentiate the message between that younger, more on the pulse, trendier, type of social audience versus that, like what we were talking about earlier, like that senior citizen type of market, which is maybe not as much there. Like, how is that a balance that creates some challenges?
Yes and no. I mean, with our shop squad, we have all different ages. We have men and women. We often send them different types of products, so it's not the same product.
Okay.
We definitely take into account age and gender and, what they may like specifically. We work with them individually. There are some that are a bit more prolific than others, so we might reach out to them. It's, not an assignment that we give them the week, and we might say, hey, we know you really love this, would you want to do some content around it? We have pretty good relationships with them. And then the other part would be influencer marketing, right? They're not our only creators. We do influencer marketing, and that's where we can really tailor the message. If we do have something around menopause support, we can certainly reach out to someone who would be more likely to take that. And definitely with sports, the sports customer is a lot different from that customer, and so we're certainly looking for different credentials. So we managed to, I think Muriel said it or Lee said it, but we have a lot of different customers, and while you can't be everything to everyone, we sometimes have to try. And so a lot of it is making sure that we get the right people who really represent and reflect that specific customer.
I would just add, we also, not all of those customers in different life stages are on the same platforms. If you're older, you're probably not on TikTok. So we really do think about when we approach a certain segment, where are they likely to be, where do they want to hear from us, and most likely if you're older, you're a little bit more traditional, you're more susceptible to direct mail or something like that. So we try to get to you in the vehicle that is most relevant to you, and then that allows us to tailor. That's why those segments are really important, because they are age-gated as well, certain ages, certain life stages, and that helps us craft, what products, what message, what's the hook for that customer who's in this particular life stage.
That's not so much a question, more props on the individual stores having an Instagram. I know from the brand side, it's a way for us to amplify that and reach customers in different areas where, at least when I was at the spa, it's like a 10-person in-house team, so we can't be national the way Vitamin Shoppe is. And so it was always really cool to be like, oh, they're doing a happy hour at these places, and we could repost it and have interactions with your store teams that were really cool. So
Thank you.
Awesome job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it is really a great way to amplify an ambassador visit. Our marketing team sets a lot of these ambassador visits up locally, right? And so if we can, yeah, exactly. And so if we can, create content there, and we train our store associates on how to create great content, then we can put it on our channels and we can show people that this is happening in store. It may not have happened at your local store, but there's a lot of great stuff happening across the country.
I'm gonna say Beyonce, coffee, and Angela for you, gritty. But I had a question for you, Nadina. I like the way you vaulted the integrated marketing lead. I haven't heard anyone position it like that before. So I was interested in hearing what success stories could you share that came out of that solved problems maybe for siloed groups.
Yeah, I mean, our integrated marketing lead is right here, and I think she does a great job. One, it's never a perfect format, so she's constantly pivoting and addressing the needs of both channel owners or creative teams and merchandising. She's kind of trying to apply what the merchants tell us is really critical to drive the business, and then the information that the other groups need. And usually the learnings are the more we can prioritize, it's so easy to try to squeeze everything in. And of course, over time, we've learned with our merchants, we have to get really prioritized, like what's the thing that's going to help us drive the business, because within our channels, unfortunately, we can't squeeze everything in. So prioritization, staying really focused, and then I would also say on the back, kind of on the bottom, is really measuring success. So part of her accountability is she then works with the teams to scorecard initiatives with our merchant partners to understand of all the things we did in collaboration, what worked, did it help drive the business, what should we be doing instead, and kind of compiling those learnings. So that kind of ongoing cycle is what we've learned to do. It did take some iterations. I feel like it was a process, and going from how we were structured to kind of doing that today to benefit the business to just being smarter and a little bit more nimble. And the outcome is that we're just nimble, much more nimble than we used to be.
Can I ask a follow-up? The
Sure.
scorecard, I love
Yeah.
that. Who creates the scorecard and how does that grade?
Yeah, so it's created. It's really created in partnership with our analytics team, our merchants from understanding business results, and our marketing and media partners. It's not just one group. We sort of pull it all together because you need to look at performance from different lenses, both from a marketing channel level. The other lens is from a merchandising product level. And then we have our promotional team who comes in and looks at it from a promotional and kind of customer level. So you have to pull all of those together to really understand, did something perform? Because sometimes things work great in marketing, like you see all of this engagement, but the sales aren't there. So you kind of have to begin to rationalize, well, it's great that you had 10,000 people clicking on a post, but did it convert to actual sales? And if not, why not? And those are the questions we ask ourselves so that we can really understand how to improve across all of our groups and drive the business.
Thank you.
I'm curious how you guys landed on the decision to do same-day delivery, and once you guys started it, what have been some unforeseen challenges in delivering to the customer what they're expecting?
Yeah, I mean, our IT team and our digital merchandising leads, or commerce leads, really began to see a shift in technology available to us. So Instacart came along during COVID. There was a behavior change that was happening. People were home more. They were fearful of stopping in stores. And here's this incredible service that's willing to do it all for you and stitch it together. So Instacart was new in the market, and we jumped on. And we were the first health and wellness brand to partner with Instacart. I would say one of the special things about the Vitamin Shoppe is that we are a little bit risk open. We're open to trying to take risks and jump into things that maybe other retailers might be uncomfortable with. We like kind of testing the waters and pushing ourselves, and that was a huge success. So we started with Instacart. We loved what we saw. Our customers seemed to be engaging with us through the channel. Then we jumped into DoorDash, and we saw some great results with DoorDash as well. We launched Uber Eats as well, and we'll probably keep going. So we're liking the performance of what you see. Obviously, you lose some customer data with that, but I do believe that you have to stay in tempo with your customers and how they want to shop, and not just how all the data you want to keep for yourself. So there's got to be a little bit of lean in into this is the way customers want to shop. So what are we doing about it? And I think we answered that question.
Thank you.
Thank you.